Hey everybody, I'm Zee Garcia, and today I'm taking a look at a roll and write game called Welcome to. In this game, the players are architects trying to build up their housing estates and trying to, develop them, make them as attractive as possible, as valuable as possible in order to score the most victory points. Again, as I said, it's a roll and write, kind of. There's no actual rolling. It's more of a flip over cards and write, in which everyone is going to have their own sheet of paper that you will write on with a pencil and score victory points from a few different things included therein. So, let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll come on back after that. I'll tell you what I think of it and how I think it compares to some of the other roll and writes out there. Every player is going to be given one of these sheets representing the locations that you are going to be building up. We flip over 3 of the goals, number 1, 2, and 3 there, and we're going to shuffle up these cards up here and split them into 3 piles. Everybody also gets one of these sheets just to help you out with some of the effects you're going to be encountering in the game, alright? And then you are ready to begin. So the objective is, of course, to get the most victory points, and you are going to be doing that by filling in the numbers of these houses, by putting up fences and distributing them into different lots, by making some of the lots worth more money, by adding in pools to some of the locations, things like that, and also completing these goals down here. So here's what a round looks like. You take the top card of each stack, flip it over, and then every player is going to pick one of these combinations. So I can take a 5 with the park here. I can take the 4 here with this one that lets me change the number. I'll talk about that. And then the 5 with the improvement there. So I'm going to go ahead and take the first one, the 5 with the park. Now I can put this into any one of the 3 streets I want to, and I'll write the 5 anywhere I want. As long as I remember the numbers must go up on the street. And so if I put the 5 way over here at the end, that's not very good. The numbers go between 2 and 15, something like that. So I might put that 5 here, let's say. I'll write in a 5 right there. And then this lets me know that I can improve the foliage. So I'll go ahead and cross out one of the numbers on that street. The first one, it was a 0. Now I'll be getting 2 points. If I continue increasing that, I'll get more and more points. Everyone will have done this, and then we flip over the next one. And we have a new set of choices. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this. All right, great. I got a 6 here with a fence, a 9 with the improvement, 6 with another park. I'm okay with that. I'll take the 6. I'll put it here. Even though there is a pool on that house, I'm just not going to fill in that pool. And I'll cross out another one of these. So again, I've improved the shrubbery around the street there. Now I'll get 4 points for that. Some of the fences, as you can see on this one here and on this one, well, let's say I put a 14 here, the first one here, and I have a fence. I can write that in anywhere I want to. So for example, I could put that, let's say, here. And I'll fill in that there's a division between these houses and these, okay? And what I'm trying to do is make different lots, different sized lots, in order to score victory points for those. Those are going to come from 2 things. Usually goals are going to want something like that. But also down here, this area, I'm going to get different victory points based on the sizes of the lots I've created. So let's go ahead and go through all these things here across the bottom, the goals, and then you'll know everything there is to know. So the goals themselves is the first column right here. This one, the number 1, it wants me to create 3 lots of 3 houses each. That means later on, let's say I get a 3, I put it here, and I also get to write in a fence right here. Well, this could be a lot of 3 houses. They all have to be filled in. But that's a lot of 3. If I can do that 3 times on the board, I'll score victory points for that. If I'm the first one to do it, I'll get 8 points. After that, anyone who does it gets 4 points. This one wants me to fill in the pools in 2 of the roads, 2 of the streets, all of them. If I do that, I'll get some points. And this one wants a 3 lot and a 4 lot. All right. So that's this. This over here is the improvement for the 3 streets and the shrubbery again. So if I don't improve it at all, it's 0 points. The next one would be, in this case, 4 points. And the next one, depending how many I've crossed off, would be some points. The pools. If I take a card that gives me, let's find one here. There we go. If I take, let's say, that's my choice, 8 and a pool. If I put that 8, let's say right here, and it comes with the pool, then I can fill in that pool. And now I've got 1 I can cross down here, and I've started to make some victory points from that, okay? The last open spot that I've got, so let's say I cross this one off, and this one off, and then this one, 13 is how many points I'll get for that. These right here, which you saw a little earlier, like this one there, lets me, when I'm about to take a number, increase that number by up to 2 or decrease it by up to 2. So for example, let's say if for some reason I needed this to be an 11 instead, I could do that, and then I have to cross off one of these down here. Depending on how many you've crossed off, you're going to get some victory points from that. These improve the lots, as I said, so every time I take one of those, I could cross off the next number, let's say the 3-sized lots. Now for each one of those at the end of the game, I'm going to get 4 victory points instead of 3. If I cross off the next one, each 3 lot gets me 5 victory points. The next one over here, this, is going to allow me to duplicate a number already on the board. So it'll say 10 with this. I'm going to put the 10 right here. And this lets me duplicate something already on the board. So I could put another 8 after this 8. And I would just write biz next to it to remind me that that's how I did that. Okay? And I have to cross off one of these. I'm losing points for doing that because I'm getting more houses than I normally would with just the cards. And then lastly, you've got over here, if you cannot write in a house at all, you cross off one of these. And this is for roundabouts, but that's an advanced rule. I'm not going to go into that. So that's largely it. You are flipping over cards, writing in the numbers, sectioning off pieces, trying to get these goals going, trying to increase the value of your lots, and build up pools and things like that, okay? The shrubbery, the pools, all of that. Make your neighborhood nice and pretty. So that should give you an idea of how it all works together. It takes a little bit to wrap your head around the different, types of activities, but they're pretty straightforward. So let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. All right, so that is welcome to. Let's talk about it. I'm going to start with thematic ties. Is the theme original? Is it well implemented? Well, yes, actually, very much so. And this is one of the few roll and writes that has a theme at all, but B, one that works pretty well to what's going on in the game, and I like that very much. It's one that uses, mechanisms that are very much just mathematical, that are just mechanics, but actually wrap them around a game that gives you something attractive to look at, that makes sense, that players can sort of understand just because they're based on real-world ideas. So I like that very much. This game has a great, great theme. The aesthetics, that's component quality, artwork, things like that. I like the look of the game. I like the fact that, as the setting is in 1950s sort of baby boom housing, the aesthetics tie into that, I think, pretty nicely. And the only thing I don't like aesthetics-wise is that the fences that you are building around your, development, they don't really pop as well as I want them to when you are writing them in with just pencil. That's the only issue I really have with it. I would rather reach for a pen and use that because the lines just don't pop as well with a pencil. I can't really see my board. It starts to get a little fuzzy because I can't tell, where I drew one in. That's a 3-house development. That's a minor nitpick, but just for me, the whole thing is so gorgeously colored in that it makes the usability a little lower than I would want to, so I switch to pens when I'm playing. That's all. Replayability. Does the game scale well? Does it give you new things to discover? Well, it's not necessarily that it gives you new things to discover, it's that you won't be able to do everything in a single session. So I do like that. The replayability is there because not only are there different goals, that's certainly replayability, and some of them are advanced goals, by the way, it also adds to the replayability, but just the fact that you won't be able to pursue everything. This game, I might just go for the goals and maybe the pools. Next game, I'm just enhancing the the look of the streets with the palm trees, with the shrubbery, and maybe I'm, putting in roundabouts because I need to create new lines. I didn't explain that, but it's an advanced rule. There's so much, you just can't do it all, and so I like that very much. Sometimes you're willing to take a few penalty points if you think you're going to make up enough to do well in the game. So, yeah, I think the replayability is there, actually. Game length, is it interesting the whole time? Does it get repetitive, anything like that? I think it's about right. It's not a game that is one of the shortest roll and write games out there, but it does not outstay its welcome for me, so I'm happy with that. Ease of play. Is it fiddly? Any extraneous rules? Is it a fairly easy game to teach? I like that they included the player aid. I think this is a good idea because there is quite a bit going on, you know, and some of it is not as easy to grasp as you'd think, you know, especially again with the fences and all of that stuff. Once you've denoted a group of 3 houses, for example, unless they've been scored, in which case you fill in the line at the top of the 3 houses, you could subdivide that into a 1 and a 2, let's say. You got to just sort of, you know, figure that out. It's a little tricky, but the player aid and going through it one time, you should be set. So not too bad, fairly easy to play. Not the easiest roll and write, certainly, but I think the theme makes up for that. Lastly, tactics and strategies. Is it too lucky? Is it balanced? Are there interesting choices? Yes, absolutely. I think there's a lot going on in the game. I think everybody is basically playing at the same time, but they are going to make different choices, and I like that very much. It's a game that has very little downtime, for one, and that's great for a roll and write, but also you are going to start with nothing, and when the game's over, you will feel like you have done some work, and that's a rewarding feeling. You know, you want a game that gives you that. Even a small little fill-in-the-blank kind of game that usually roll and writes tend to be. So absolutely, I do find it to be engaging and tactically interesting. You know, you have to respond to what's going on while trying to stick with whatever plan you had going into it. So overall, I do like Welcome To. I think it's a fun one, but the main thing that shines for me is the fact that it's a thematic roll and write, or, you know, flip a card and write. Most roll and write or whatever kind of games don't have a particularly strong theme. They are mechanically driven. They give you maybe a little window dressing to make it pretty, but they're usually just sort of, you know, means to an end. In this game, the theme's neat and it works, and it's a fully fleshed out concept. So yes, I like this one. It's not anything necessarily brand new, you know. There's no concept here that is 100% revolutionary, you know, lining up numbers, they must go up in sequence. We've kind of seen these things, you know. But yeah, overall, I do enjoy it. This is a good one. This is going to get a strong seal of approval from me. Definitely would recommend you grab yourself a copy if you enjoy the genre, and if you want one that's thematic and just really attractive, you know, and it's going to be easy to bring to the table with folks that want a little bit more of a hook, of a thematic hook. So there you go. Welcome To, again, seal of approval. Thanks for checking this out with me, folks. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.